Christian Moore, he's just so giving, right? He gave us a home run in his leadoff at bat in the first inning against South Carolina in game one to break the program record for single season home runs. And then he's like, how about I give you guys one more? And he did so just a couple of innings later, certainly adding to his resume for being the SEC Player of the Year. But then that got me thinking. Tennessee has really boasted some of the best players in the conference in 2024. You look at Dalton Knecht, Sakai Ziegler, then sophomore pitcher Carlin Pickens. Now Christian Moore certainly in that race as well, but that's not even the best part. I'm Paige Dower, and this is the Field Pass. The best part about baseball and softball, similar to men's basketball, is they've got multiple players who are not only performing at the best at their position in the conference, but they're also having their name in the national conversation. You look at sophomore pitcher Carlin Pickens, we'll talk more about her later, but back to baseball, you've got Billy Amick, Blake Burke, Christian Moore, who are all up for the top player in college baseball nationally. They're up for that award. Now, when we take a look back at the SEC Player of the Year, it appears that Christian Moore might be on the outside looking in, because currently it appears to be a two-man race between Charlie Condon of Georgia and then Florida Jack Caglione. Then if you look at it a little bit more, Condon might be in sole position of that first place race right now. He's homering at a blistering pace. He has 34 home runs to his name. Christian Moore just hit his 26th against South Carolina in their game opener. But the race is lacking a key player, figuratively and literally, I suppose, in Christian Moore. He has an SEC best 19 homers in conference play. That comes after his 2-homer game against the Gamecocks. And he says the last time that he's played this well or has seen the ball this well might have been in Little League play. And his 2-homer night came against a South Carolina team that isn't too shabby. They've got 9 wins over quad 1 games, though their Thursday night pitcher maybe threw more balls into the dirt, into the strike zone, but Christian Moore made him pay each time. And while Christian leads the SEC in conference play homers, 11 of those 19 have come on the road, including a 3-homer game at Kentucky to clinch that pivotal series for the Vols. Part of that success on the road might be because, and his teammates will say it, he loves being the villain. And a lot of that comes from being in that leadoff position.
Oh, it's amazing. I think it's kind of my game. I love being leadoff. I love setting a tone and being that guy that has his hair on fire. And with this team, with Burke and Billy behind me and other guys to go down that list, it's really fun. It's really fun.
And while Christian Moore's stats speak for itself, it's impressive on its own. What becomes even more impressive is when you look at the sustained success that he's had. When you've got a guy batting the way that Christian Moore is, he's on a pitcher's radar more than ever. They're doing all they can to get more off of his game, but nothing's worked yet. And Tony Vitello said after the game that a lot of that comes down to patience.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing for pitchers and hitters is there's so much information and people scheme and game plan for you and things like that. And you've got to be willing to counter adjust. I don't want to say like a counter move because it's not chess we're playing here, but you got to be able to cover your blind spots. And I don't think you can do that in one day or one sit down or one video session. I think that is kind of back to my answer is, you want to win awards, you want to win games, you want to get recognized, you want to get honored, you want the results to go your way. But if you just kind of tunnel it down to what you have control over and what you need to do every day for those things to happen, is just keep evolving. And it's been interesting to watch him and Blake Burke and KT especially just evolve and become more complete players. And
I don't know. I think just like I said, trusting in the work and doing, everything that I've done this offseason and sitting down and breaking down my swing and doing everything. Like, I know going into every at-bat that, and at least in my mind, I'm the better player. So I'm always going to act like that and think that way, especially when I'm in that box.
And beyond just the patience, it takes a lot of self-control and a lot of confidence to be able to maintain your composure at the plate and not chase balls. And beyond even that, Christian Moore says a lot of his success comes from his mom.
Understanding just what works for me, what doesn't, and just trying to stay even killed. I think, honestly, my mom keeps me as humble as possible. She'll probably call me and say I suck after this, so just keep going, and the sky's the limit. It's probably what she'll tell me. So I just know I got to be humble, and all this it's cool and all, and like I said, maybe years from now I'll look back and reflect on it, but I'm really just one-minded, one-tracked, and that's to win a national championship.
And with just 2 regular season games left for Tennessee, Christian Moore should absolutely be in the conversation for the SEC Player of the Year. but it's a stacked race, and it's one of those rare years where maybe there's not a wrong answer. Christian Moore even kind of leaning into that narrative as well.
I don't know. I know there's a really good kid over at Georgia that hits a lot of home runs too. So if he wins or even Cags or whoever, good for them. And we're all friends, and I all know them, and just I wish them the best of luck. I think everyone wants to be SEC Player of the Year. I think that's like a goal you always set for yourself. I even set that goal for myself my freshman year. But like I said, we still have 2 more games to play and a series to try to win. And I don't really know how all that stuff works, but I never really thought I'd be in that position.
Now, Carlin Pickens, she's already picked up the SEC Pitcher of the Year, and that follows last season when she was the SEC Freshman of the Year. Now she's even in more elite company as she is a top 10 finalist for the National Player of the Year. She is just the 11th player in program history to meet that threshold of being a top 10 finalist. Now, I spoke with former ace pitcher Ashley Rogers last week, and if you missed it, I highly recommend that you go back and watch that because we talked a lot about her initial reaction to seeing Carlin Pickens fast pitch for the first time in person, and her saying like, "Oh, I think I will just stay back here and take notes. I don't want to be in the batter's box," and having to face that. But I want to read a couple of stats for you to kind of really emphasize what's so impressive about not only Carlin Pickens' raw talent, but the step forward that she's been able to make from freshman year until now. She has a 19-6 record. She has 186 strikeouts in just 156 innings of work this season, and she is holding opposing batters to a 160 batting average. And prior to today's game, Karen Weekly talked with the media as she described what makes Carlin so unique and difficult to bat against.
It's something we saw when we recruited her in high school, just that velocity. I think the thing that separates Carlin is most hard throwers don't have the ability to throw a changeup like she does. And to be able to throw a changeup that's coming in there at like 60, it's a 15-mile-an-hour difference. That's really, really hard to adjust to.
Now, the show is likely airing when softball is playing its opening game against Dayton, who's making its first postseason appearance. I'm hoping the rain does. I'm looking out the window. I hope the rain does hold off. I think it's going to come later. But I will be at the game today. You can follow me on Twitter or X at PaigeStowerFDP. I'll put the handle right here because that's post editing for you, and you can kind of follow along and see what's going on with softball today. And when you look at baseball and softball and what they're able to do as a reflection of what men's basketball was able to do when they had some of the best SEC players on their team, they were able to make history by going to the Elite Eight. Hopefully that gets reflected back, and it's a good recipe for success, and softball and baseball are able to do the same. So again, I'm going to wrap this show up because I got to get over to softball to get some highlights and be able to talk about this game with you guys on Sunday, and hopefully the weather will agree with us. Today's a busy day with baseball and softball both playing, but seriously, thank you all for watching. Again, maybe follow me on Twitter or our Instagram page at Full Disclosure to kind of stay up to date with everything else that is going on. But until then, I'll chat with you guys Sunday.